So guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you are all well. We got some big transfer news to discuss in today's video after a dramatic twist, which I personally did not see coming because we had heard news previously that something wasn't going to happen, but now it looks like it might possibly happen this transfer window, which is very, very exciting. Now, I do want to get into a bit of a downer story to start with, because unfortunately, Jota has returned to Celtic. I mean, it's been a car crash since the very start of his long-term injury. But again, you guys have probably seen it by now. He's been handed another massive blow after he is required to get some more surgery. So let's go through the article which explains it in better detail and really talk about how bad this could be for us. Right, so here's the article from the Daily Record. I chose the Daily Record, but there's plenty other outlets kind of talking about this situation. It is common news now. I don't normally go to the Daily Record for my news sources, but it kind of explains it pretty well in this article here. So yeah, Martin O'Neill basically had revealed that Jota is out for the rest of the season after going back under the knife. The Celtic wide man has required further surgery following his horror cruciate injury suffered at Tannadice last April. Jota had hoped to be back in business for the run-in, but his recovery has hit a bump that will delay his return until next season. Now, this is really, really sad to see. Of course, if we go back to Jota in his first stint at the club, the guy was unplayable on some days. He was superb. And since he's come back, you know, since his move to Saudi Arabia fell through and his other ventures across Europe fell through, he came out to Celtic, and unfortunately we've been yet to reap those rewards because he has been injured, quite badly since he's been back at the club. O'Neill, who's also without defender Cameron Carter-Vickers for the rest of the campaign, said there's been a minor setback for him, but it's something that during the course of your treatment, I think it would be better. A bit of a meniscus thing or something, I guess, here. I guess when he means minor setback, it's because it's such a massive injury in the first place. Like, any kind of complication along that road of recovery can be a massive issue, because now we're looking at it and Jota's out until the start of the new season, essentially. So this whole year for him has been a massive write-off. And to be honest with you, looking at the league table, looking at a lot of the chances we are creating in these games that we aren't finishing. I know Jota is a creative player, more so than necessarily a clinical striker, but I feel like a player with his quality, he could have really added a lot to this team this season. I'm pretty sure he's probably grateful that he wasn't managed under Nancy, though, so he kind of missed the bullet there. He hasn't had a major setback, let me put it this way, but it's taking longer than one would have imagined. Brendan thought it was going to be January, February. That could have been at the time. That could have been the prognosis. But that little setback that he's had is not preventing extra things. So yeah, Rodgers apparently initially said January, February. That's kind of what we heard in the summer, or the start of the season, sorry. But yeah, of course, there's been some issues on his recovery and he's not going to make it back in time for that. And it won't be playing until the rest of the season. It's just something that you can clear up with one of those keyhole surgery things. Is a tidy up? Absolutely, it's not major. I was speaking to him the other day. He's fine. He's always smiling. There's nothing to be smiling about. So yeah, obviously Jota very positive about the situation. But enough of that, because we know that situation is very frustrating and we can talk about injuries all day long. But let's get into some positive news, because it's the January transfer window and that's what really matters right now, is talking about transfers, potential transfers. And here's one that we're going to bring back up again. So Joselyn Tabe's remarkable Celtic saga takes a new twist, deal back on after Sunderland links. Now, this deal was initially kind of spoken about at end of December, start of January. We thought this guy would be coming to the club straight away. Then a few days ago, we found out that actually the deal basically collapsed. Sunderland were interested in him. However, things have changed and we are back. We're setting our sights back on him again in the latest twist of this transfer saga. So Joselyn Tabe's move to Celtic is not dead in the water yet after all. Celtic had agreed a deal for the Ivorian winger, who is contracted to Maccabi Netanya, and the club officials had to travel to Israel to finalise the deal. However, at the 11th hour, Tabe's move collapsed, and depending on who you believe, this was either caused by medical concerns, a late breakdown in negotiations, or possibly both. In a new development on Tuesday, it was said that Tabe was close to joining Sunderland in a surprise development given how his Celtic move fell through. But in what is turned into a fairly absurd saga, we now have a new chapter. So apparently, ankle ligament damage had reportedly shown up on Tabe's medical, indicating that he required surgery. This led to Celtic backing out of the deal, but the Sunderland reports indicated that there were more to this story. So yeah, it seems like there's out of two options here. He either failed his kind of medical at the time due to this ankle ligament damage, or he may have backed out of it because he saw Sunderland were interested in him. And of course, Sunderland, you know, we are speaking about a team right now that are on the top half of the Premier League. And of course, money's a little bit more better in that league over there as well. So I wouldn't be surprised that was one of the issues as well. One of the reasons the deal collapsed. And there is reports in Israel now state that Celtic have asked for a second opinion on Tabe's medical issue. Now, look, I want to go into my opinion on this afterwards. He will reportedly travel to London to see a specialist, and if given the all clear, could still sign for Celtic after all, despite signing links for France. Yeah. Anyway, he's reportedly worth 2.5 million. Look, this signing doesn't really excite me, and I feel like I've read a lot of the opinions online of fans as well. It doesn't really excite a lot of the fan base from what I've seen. You know, he is what we call a project player. He isn't going to come into this team straight away and be a massive impact. And I feel like we're at this point now. We're in 2 weeks into the transfer window. We're at this point now. We know what we need. And we need a clinical goal scorer. We need a striker as soon as possible. And a 20-year-old Ivorian winger from the Israeli league isn't someone that really gets me excited. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way. I mean, could he be a good player in the future? Absolutely, it's possible. But we sign a lot of these project players, and sometimes they work out, of course, sometimes they don't. But what we need right now is, as we are in a very close title race, what we need now is a solid striker that can get us goals, because we're creating a lot of chances, but we're not finishing enough. And that is, for me, one of the key issues right now in this team. And I think that's what we need to focus our attention on, not debating or humming and hawing about signing a 20-year-old from the Israeli league. Look, again, it just seems like a weird signing. I mean, I'm sure he could be a good player, and I'm all for it, signing him, go for it, sign for him. But don't be the main sign in this transfer window. Get him, sign if you want him, but get another player that's going to make an instant impact straight away. Because, of course, it's good to have players like this as well. He could be good in the future, but also he could be a stinker. So we'll see what happens with regards to that. But that is another twist there with this transfer saga, because we are now reportedly back interested in him. But this whole injury thing is a little bit bizarre. I mean, if he failed his first medical, why do we need a second opinion? Surely we have enough knowledge there. I'm not too sure what's going on with that situation. But again, we don't want to sign a young, promising player that's injury prone, because that's just an absolute nightmare for everyone involved. So, yeah, I'd rather stay away from that signing. But if we sign him, £2.5 million, it's a fair amount of money, but it's still quite a low-risk transfer on the big scheme of things, I suppose. But if we sign him, I don't want that to be the only sign in this transfer window. It needs to be some more higher caliber players coming in through the door, because, quite frankly, we need a goal scorer. But guys, let me know your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video with regards to Jota's injury and with regards to Tabe transfer now being back on after a big, huge twist. Yeah, thank you for the support of the channel recently. It's been great. Take care. Goodbye.